Is your intuition expanding and growing? Are you becoming more sensitive to your intuition? Do you wish that you could have more accuracy around your intuition, but you're just not trusting it enough to take action? Well, I just want to let you know you are in good company. So, if you are new to my channel, I am Nancy. I'm a retired registered nurse. I've been working with the human energy field for almost 30 years now, really starting with my own and then working with individuals, and now work as a teacher teaching others how to work with their intuition. But trusting your intuition, mistrusting, not being able to trust is at an all-time high. And so it's been easy for us to keep our kind of intuition small and then nice, neat little package, because then your trust did not have to get challenged. But we are living in a time where we are going through an enormous, rapid awakening of consciousness, and not just in your state where you live or the country that you live, but the whole world, and even more than that, the whole universe. And it isn't just humanity that's waking up. It's the sciences, it's the mathematics, it's politics, it's banking, it's corruption. There's this awakening that's happening in so many levels. Our animals are awakening more, where we're able to communicate more telepathically with our pets. The trees are waking up more, or where they are much more able to communicate to us, and we're able to communicate with them. But mistrust looks the same in every single person's energy field that I've ever looked at, because I'm clairvoyant. I can see in the human energy field, and mistrust looks the same every time. I'm going to share that with you, and I'm going to share some simple tips. And some of these simple tips you've heard before, and they apply to everything. But just in case you don't remember, I will help you to remember. Now, I've been teaching people how to trust their intuition for many, many, many years, but I have written my notes so I don't forget what I want to say to you. Okay. So as humanity awakens to higher states of intuitive senses, it's becoming even more vital that you learn how to trust your own wisdom and knowledge that comes from your own intuition. I could say things that are going to be right for me intuitively, but it might not be right for you intuitively. And right now, we're in our world at an all-time high again. We don't trust anybody else right now. It's like we've had the rug pulled out from underneath our trust with all of our leaders in the world, and maybe our parents, or maybe our friends that we thought we trusted, or we put our faith in them, but maybe not ourselves. And so what's happening is you've just got to learn how to trust your intuition. It's going to be your guiding light to navigate your decisions for the rest of your life. So might as well get started. So all the rules of engagement are changing really, really rapidly. So what we knew, everything happened like this, and now somebody just threw the rule book out, and now we don't know what to do now. And we're asking each other, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And what we want to learn how to do is tune in and just say, Spirit, what do I need to do? Asking your intuition. And it's like, sit down, have a cup of coffee. But it feels like I need to be doing something. Yep, you need to be sitting down and having a cup of coffee. There was something happening the other day, and my mind wanted me to just throw everything at it and the kitchen sink to see what was going to stick. And then I tapped into my intuition, and my intuition says, don't do anything. Everything's going to be fine. Just ground, let things unfold. And it did turn out fine. But before I checked in with my intuition, I was pretty panicky about what was happening. So things are changing so fast that even things that were solid as factual rules to follow might not fit anymore in our current system. And this is the thing about intuition. It is so subtle. Like it's like, did I just feel something? Oh, my stomach must be upset. Did I just hear something? Oh, the window must have just rattled. Like it can be that so minor, but I promise you, as you start to listen to those little subtleties, they start to get louder and the noise in the world starts to get quieter. So, intuition is so subtle, it's so invisible, it's so ambiguous that it can even feel like balancing on a log that's floating in the water. It can feel, your intuition can feel really unstable. And then, how are you going to lay your life on the line and take action for something that feels like your intuition feels unpredictable and unstable? Who's going to rely on that? Who's going to trust that? So, but here's the thing, when you learn to be solidly connected, and it takes practice, when you learn to be solidly connected, it can feel more unstable to not listen to your intuition. So, let me say that again. Once you practice and you start feeling more confident and you begin and you're able to trust the subtleties of your intuition, then what happens is there's a switch that's flipped and then suddenly it feels more unstable to not listen to your intuition, because you start to learn that anytime I follow my intuition, it always turns out right. And anytime I don't listen to my intuition, it turns out wrong. And eventually you will get to feel the difference, but you must, am I going to put my teacher hat on? You must practice, practice, practice listening to your intuition enough to take action. How many of you have ever thought to yourself, I have to do this. There's no other option. I just know it's the right thing to do. How many of you have ever attempted to do something else and you just can't? It's like your body gets hijacked and your spirit is so strong that it moves you in the direction that it really wants you to go. So I was standing in the kitchen. I don't know what I was cooking or baking. I was doing something in the kitchen. And remember, I talked about that intuitive sense. Sometimes it can feel subtle. So here I'm in the kitchen and I feel the subtle sensation that someone is standing next to me. So I look to the left, I look to the right. I turn around and I look in back of me and I don't see anybody there. But that presence feels really strong. And then that presence felt even stronger, where it's like, I know that someone's standing next to me, but I can't hear or sense or see them. So it's like, all right, it must be a spirit. So then what I did was I trusted that it must be a spirit. So then I kind of checked in to my intuitive sense and said, is it a spirit? And I got this feeling that yes, it was. And then I did more inquiring to find out who that spirit was. And eventually I was able to get the accuracy of it was Celeste, my 5 generations back great grandmother. So great, 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 great grandmother. Long time ago. But I actually have a picture of her, and I've had some parts of a connection with her. Sometimes when I meditate or I just look at her picture, I just feel a really strong connection. And then I felt as if she communicated to me, and I saw an image of cherry cobbler. Now, I've never made a cherry cobbler before, but suddenly in my mind's eye, cherry cobbler, suddenly I can smell through my intuitive senses cherry cobbler. My mouth is watering for cherry cobbler. Like there's a lot, like I just feel this cherry cobbler on the horizon of what I'm going to be doing. And then I asked the question, are you wanting me to make a cherry cobbler? And then I had that enormous, overwhelming sensation that's a positive sensation that said yes. Now at this time, my grandmother was still alive. So she was already in her 90s and she was probably around the age of 95. So this would have been her great grandmother. So, and she knew her. She knew Celeste, her great grandmother. Her own mother had passed when she was 13 years old, but her great grandmother was, she had memories of her from childhood. So now at this point, I'm having a lot of images of cobbler, and I had a sense that she wanted me to make a cherry cobbler and that she wanted to be with me when I made it. And so I thought, all right, well, let me go to the store to get the ingredients. Now, my point about this is if your spirit really wants you to do something, you're going to be moved in that direction. So here I am. I've now got my hands on the shopping cart at the store, and I'm going to go get cans of cherries. You know, it's in that big syrup or thick gel. Now I'm going to turn my cart to go there and it wouldn't move. Now, if I'm going to the fresh cherries, then I could move in that direction. But canned cherries, my cart would not let me move in that direction. But then I thought, all right, well, let me go get frozen cherries. I'm sure that there's frozen cherries that already have the pits out of them. So I tried to roll towards the frozen section. I could not roll my cart. But the instant I tried to move to roll it to the fresh cherry produce department, then I could move my cart. So that's what I am saying can really happen with your intuition, and it can feel really subtle, but you can push through it if you're not listening to those little subtle signs. So now I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to go to the section to see if I can find a cherry pit, something to pull the pips out that I can, snap the cherry and get that little seed out of it. And I could not go down that aisle. And it was like, why can't I go down there? I need something to help to get the pits out. And then I heard Celeste say, you're going to do it the old-fashioned way like I did with just a little paring knife. And so that's what I'm saying about your intuition can guide you. And so that's what I did. I got the cherries. I got home. I did the little paring knife. She really guided me as to what recipe to make. So now the cobbler's done, and now I'm going to take it to my grandmother. So I go there with the cherry cobbler. My grandmother is... she's a skeptic. I'll just let you know. I mean, she's passed now, but at the time she was a skeptic. She didn't really believe in this. However, she loved it, thinking that her great-grandmother, Celeste, helped make this cherry cobbler. Then she told me my great-grandmother loved cherries. My great-grandmother was a great cook, but she loved to bake more than cooking meals. Baking was her thing. And she was very intuitive, that she said the neighbors would come, people would come from miles to get wisdom, knowledge, and insight from her. So I found that all very fascinating. And gosh, that was easily 8 years ago. And she still pops in once in a while whenever she wants to bake something. Then I'll go in the kitchen and bake together with her. So it's quite fun. But if I didn't trust my intuition, I would override those subtleties all the time. So, all right. So what does it look like in the human energy field when you don't trust? All right. So you can close your eyes and you can just pretend and imagine you can feel it, see it, hear it, know it, sense it. But there's like a black plate. I mean, it looks black and it's stuck energy. It usually comes out about this far and it blocks right here the top of your head. And then there's another, it looks like a piece of plywood to me, and it's right where the hips are. So it would go right up through your survival chakra that's located in the bottom. So you're now blocked. You've got a block at the top and you have a block at the bottom. And so what happens here is you don't have access to your spirit, and you don't have access to the stability of earth to help you feel those subtle energies strongly. So here are the tips that you need to do that you're going to find really helpful. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pretend that you can slide that block of energy out so that your spirit, you can connect with your own spirit, you can connect with the cosmos and the divine. And then you're going to pretend that you're going to pull it out of the bottom so that you can connect with earth. Then we're going to go right back to the 3 steps that you hear me say all the time. You want to ground. You're going to pretend like you're a tree. You've got enormous roots to the center of the earth. And then you're going to connect with the cosmos above. So you're going to go ahead and ground to the center of the earth. Then you're going to bring up that earth energy. Remember that nourishing earth energy, that when that earth energy, you can pretend like it's mud, or you can pretend like it's a golden light, or you can pretend like it's seawater or fresh water. You can pretend, some people like to use sand or clay or pine needles. I like to just use pure light. And then you bring that earth energy up into the body, because when you're connected to the earth and you're connected to the God of your heart, that your trust and your intuition overrides anything that your body tries to talk you out of. You've got to have those 2 connections. And then once you've got the grounding, the earth energy, then you're going to choose a color of cosmic energy to flow through your aura and to help dissolve whatever interferes with your ability to trust. Once those disconnects are gone, your trust level just increases, so you can start to trust your intuition a lot more. And during this great time of change, we really need that. Now, how do you move those blocks? It's all with intention. It's like, hey, nope, I'm intending that I'm going to rinse those energy blocks with whatever energy, earth energy or cosmic energy, until it dissolves 100%. Saying the date will be really helpful, especially if that mistrusting yourself maybe happened when you were 13 years old and now you're 45 years old. You want to remind your energy field of how old you are and what today's date is, so that you can allow yourself to dissolve those blocks of energy. Now, for some of you, don't be surprised if you find that maybe it's not just a thin block, maybe it's 2, 3 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet thick. Well, that means that you really have forgotten how to trust yourself. And how do you clear a block that's that thick? Exactly the same way. It's not complicated, but it may just take you revisiting it again and again and again until it completely dissolves. And then the same with the area around the hips. Now, on my website, intuitivemind.org, you can go visit that. And there's a questionnaire that you can take. You put in your email. The questionnaire will be sent to you. I've also have some videos that will come to you as well that teach you about your intuition. But also under shop, if you click on that, it'll say free meditations. You can download a meditation where I voice guide you on how to ground, bring up earth energy, cosmic energy, and start dissolving anything that blocks you from connecting to your own soul and connecting to your body in a very earthly way. It works. Works like a charm, works every time. You just let yourself imagine and let yourself play. All right, those are the simple tips for working with removing blocks to trusting yourself. Thanks so much for popping on. What kind of tips do you have for trusting yourself? Or how do you know when your intuition is really strong and when maybe you need to sit with it a while longer? I will love reading those comments in the comment section. All right, everyone, take good care. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.